Hello and welcome on this video about how to install the GraphQL add-on. First, you must download the add-on from the HOPEX store. So I have already here downloaded the add-on, and it is displayed in my download folder. I have downloaded here an executable that is zipped, so I will unzip it, which is done here, and I will double click on the setup. Just follow the steps of the setup. Do next. By default, it will place the GraphQL add-on in a IIS folder. In my machine, the IIS folder is located in C inetpub www root. If this is into another location, just change this path. Press next. It will also install some additional component into the Mega, into where HOPEX is installed. By default, this is the path, so if your HOPEX is located elsewhere, just change the path. It is important that you actually take the .NET folder of the HOPEX installation folder. Do next, then install. It will copy the file and it is now installed. If you want to see if it has been successful, go into the folder of Mega, so here program file Mega HOPEX V3, and go into .NET folder. You should find a package called hopex.graphql with the release number 1, and find some DLL as well as some config file, which are the schemas that are exposed. If you want to see that in IIS the file has been placed into the www root, go into the inetpub www root. You should find a new folder called HOPEX GraphQL. In this folder of HOPEX GraphQL, you must configure the web.config file. So open the web.config file with, for example, Notepad++. You will need to specify the location of the path where HOPEX is installed. So for that, the potential best option is to look at how it is configured in the other HOPEX config file. So just go under HOPEX web.config and take the URL of where HOPEX is installed, like http, and paste that here for UAS, for SSP. You will also need, for GraphQL to work, to specify the environment, the profile, and the repository, as well as the user that you want to use. So if you don't know how to actually get the environment ID, you just need to convert the exit apps of the environment, repository, and profile, and put it here, as well as the login of the user you want to use. So if you want to use Mega, for example, so you must change this value. So for example, I'll make this example here for environment ID. I'll open the installation folder of Mega, where I have the Mega site, where I do have the environment here ID. I will then use the converter ID to get the absolute identifier, and then paste it here into my web.config file for here. Please remember that this is just used for GraphQL. You will need this information anytime you make a request to the API. In this file, you also need to update the security key. So the best thing to do is to take the security key from the installation. So just copy paste the security key into the file and save it. You now need to set up this folder to be an app into IIS. So for that, open Internet Information Service. You will see the folder HOPEX GraphQL. Right-click, convert to application. You must change the application pool to select the HOPEX API application pool. Then press OK. And then you can press OK. You may need to reload IIS, so just restart so that the configuration is properly taken into account. Once you have configured the application and defined the application pool, go to the application pool list. You will find here the application pool used that you have defined, HOPEX API, HOPEX API MWAS. In some situation, the HOPEX API MWAS password is not properly set, so you need to update this. Just right-click, Advanced Settings, go under the Identity, Set, and retype in the username, login, and password. In my situation, HOPEX /HOPEX API, and I type in my password here. If ever you have a wrong password, you will be notified by IIS whenever you try to connect. There will be a little square here where the pool is stopped instead of being started. You can now see if your installation has been successful by launching your web browser, and in the URL type in HOPEX GraphQL. If the installation was successful, you should directly get into the GraphQL web page, and you should be able to run your first query. So I suggest you try running your first query. You need to wait that the schema is loaded. So to know if the schema is loaded, just see if the schema is available on the right side under the documentation. If it's not available, it means it's not yet loaded. When the schema will be loaded, you will be able to write your query.